You're live. Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Wherever you are, welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. Here we are on the Bop, living in the car, cruising for Wi Fi. And so, what are we speaking today about? Inner peace and what's happening in the next 40 days. That would almost seem like an oxymoron. But what we have to set ourselves forth is living in love's co-creation without any judgment. So, I live out in the middle of the woods. I'm the poster boy of, almost quarantined, right? I don't see anybody. Now, you can do that, but you're cutting yourself off from love's co-creation. You can, through meditation, connect to that. You can connect to love's co-creation. And that's a good thing. That's something, that's called mindfulness, where you are mindful of what you're thinking about. You're mindful about your breath. Breathe in through the nose, smell the roses. Breathe out your mouth, blow out the candle. That will give a good airflow, right? Thus bringing oxygen and all of the other nutrients, that the prana brings to our bag of water, right? Now, go to my two channels. First off, you're on here on Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. Click that bell, subscribe, get your friends to subscribe. Let's get some more folks watching, especially in these next 40 days. And the other thing is to go to Griot Publishing, or go on to xratted.blogspot.com, and you'll find my essays and my short stories and novels. And I'm working on Legend right now, right? And it's coming along. And the way I'm doing it is as I put it up on the cloud. It goes when you go to Legend, you will see that. So. Sometimes it's not, the pace is not going to exactly where I've been, so I may have written a little bit more, but there's enough up there on there to get the gist, right? And if you guys know anybody who publishes things, turn them on to me, right? But the next 40 days, we have a little less than 3 weeks, give or take, to voting day. People already starting to vote, right? Yet our president has said he's not going to get out of office because it's a hoax. And, the only way he could lose is if everyone cheats, right? And so you have to realize that, Saturday Night Live is getting more and more live. And they put up Alec Baldwin as Donnie and Jim Carrey as JoJo, and their first debate. And that was really a perfect example of what's going on. It is theater. We are experiencing theater. The powers that shouldn't be, the hidden hand that pulls all the strings, is orchestrating this. And what their outcome is if blood in the streets. If JoJo wins by a landslide, Donnie will try to obfuscate, but he'll just make himself look. I mean, the best thing he could do is gracefully, like every other president, pass the hat on, right? I mean, you look at George H., right? He was made president and he was expecting to be, second again. But um, Billy came along and he was the Hidden Hand's next, um, you know, actor. And though Georgie didn't like it, he read the script. When they were having a debate between, um, Billy and uh, little guy, and Georgie looked at his watch like he had someplace else to go. That was it. That was the clue to have. And so you can, and all of these things are very, very fun. What's my other pair of glasses? I put this microphone on because I listened to my other shows and they were very noisy, right? So I hope you guys can hear me. I don't know what I did with my other reading glasses. Let's see. Because without it, unless you do it, real, capital letters. Oh, good. I do have another pair of glasses. It's how to read the screen. Boy, this thing is just dirty as you get. Anyway, so that's the presidential election. We have many other things going on. You have to realize up until 65, poor people and blacks couldn't vote in America. Hey, Fuzzaloo, hey, from UK at work cleaning. Well, make it clean. A cleanness is next to bodliness. So, Buzz, have you been reading my novels? Have you been reading Legend? What do you think? What do you think of Legend, if you've been reading it? Or what do you think of any of the things I say or do? And remember, don't believe a word I say. This is just for entertainment's sake. And we've been talking now for 7 minutes and 59 seconds. And Fuzz, you're the only one. No, there's three folks there. And so inner peace, right? And what is inner peace? Really, it's breath, mindfulness, and forgiveness. And with forgiveness comes no judgment. So let's see some thumbs up for that one, right? Breath. Breathe in the roses. Blow out the candle, right? And it's good to do the circular breath through your nose. Because when you breathe out through your nose, you're kind of cleaning it out. So, and so that's breath, and your breath brings more of oxygen and all the other nutrients and prana into your avatar, your bag of water, which allows you to create an electromagnetic photonic field, which allows you to be mindful. And then when you are mindful, you can actually, instead of letting your hormones take over, you can allow yourself to be forgiving, unconditionally forgiving. And how that is done is only when you and I and everyone else, all our relations, can put ourselves in the other's shoes, right? When we see why that person's being a jerk, why he's blowing the horn, while he's being nasty to somebody or you, if you can put yourself in their shoes, that'll disconnect that energetic of anger and fear, right? And then if you can empathize, then you can forgive unconditionally. And if you can forgive unconditionally, you can let go of your judgments, right? On a breath, that a boy, that a girl, that a fish. Yep, very cute. Yep. Oh. Uh. So, the next 40 days, looks like something biblical. But if we can all be in that space of peace, we can get through all of this. And this can be the great opportunity because everything is being laid out in front of us. It's really, like up until 1965, poor people and blacks and anybody else that the Hidden Hand didn't vote. And it made sure that voting didn't matter. And it still doesn't because they choose, look who's running, JoJo and Donnie. Two, I'm an old guy, but they're really old. And what I think is going to have, let's say Donnie, and this thing, I would give Donnie a 58% chance of winning by a landslide because they can manipulate the vote any way they want to. Look at Al Gore and George W. Look at Donnie and Hillary. It doesn't matter. Has anyone read the Constitution? Article 7 basically says the states get to pick the people they send to Congress to be in the electoral college. So even let's say some state, everyone votes for JoJo. If it was a Republican governor and a Republican legislator, they could send people who would vote for Donnie. So it's really, um, kind of, as George Carlin would say, you're not in the club, So, but the thing that, why this is so up in the air, so, such a big splat is the big splat is heading towards us. And the big splat is the awareness of you and I and all our relations to what's going on. We have been, asleep. We have been, the wool has been pulled over our eyes for thousands of years, and this is one of those, half of our solar systems in, retrograde. Things are happening. We are no longer in the Piscean age. We are in the Aquarian age, which is getting what we need and deserve through truth, where the Piscean age is getting what you want through violence and force, and so that's going out the window, you know. So this little pandemic is a very virulent disease, but it's been engineered to knock out certain elements of the population, and even though young folk, people under 50, it's just like a flu or sniffles, as Donnie would say. Look at Donnie. He got the right juice, or a lot of my folks think that he didn't get it. He just used it as a. But there's his wife got it, his kid got it, everybody in the White House got it. So why wouldn't Donnie? But um, there are so many things behind the screen, right? We're all looking at these screens, and there's so much behind it. And let's see, the first person to talk to me about astrology told me water, air equals truth. Yep. And that's me. I'm an Aquarian, a water bearer, and that's an air sign. So, and, Aquarians are an interesting bunch. We are, like a Tootsie Roll wrapped in bacon, deep fried, with chocolate and maple syrup put on it, and then frozen in nitrogen. That's us. And so we're very tasty. We're very interesting. People really get enamored with us, but they get very upset with us because we kind of just looking at us makes them see themselves. Then when they talk with us, I'm not talking from my ego. I'm listening to you and responding with my empathy. Ooh, and that's, people, I remember giving a speech at a very important Congress when I was supposed to be the technocrat that I was at the time. And instead of, I came from a point of total humility, grace, and love, and told everyone, hey, all of this stuff we're talking about at this conference is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is love, and love will manifest, the most positive outcome there can be. And this was in 1973, a while back, among some very important folk, people who, represent, who were the Council on Foreign Relations, who were MIB, who were COG, who were the Trilateral Commission, who were the Club of Rome, who were the central banks, who were the 300 families, So, and they were a bunch of us young Turks were brought into this conference to see if we could muster and be up to snuff to represent, the next generation. And I was invited to, and I was given, what do they call it? The keynote speech, to kick the whole thing off. And I didn't judge. I didn't, you bad people. I said, listen, it doesn't matter who's running it. It's, who we serve. And the only truth there is love's co-creation. And they were, secretly, because they also all belong to esoteric entities like the Bowl Society, the Theosophical Society, Green Door, and a whole bunch of others, in their little secret space, they agreed with everything I said, but said, wow, you're a brave guy. Here you are right on the cusp of you being able to be a mover and shaker. And, and this is like the kiss of, you're really exercising your free speech in a way that, the institutions won't like. But hey, listen, our secret society really likes you. So when I say join us, So, I played along for a good 8 years because, my thing that I'm really drawn to is understanding. So what better thing than to understand what's going on by being brought in there? Plus, I was young enough where it kind of assuaged my ego and my, ooh, wow, aren't I cool? But as I got older, I realized, and experienced a lot of things and exposed to a lot of information. And I got to a place where, I was had a foot in both worlds. And in 2014, that's when I died. And then I realized, well, I can't do that anymore. I can't stand on the razor's edge. I got to commit. So, I committed to love's co-creation, to serve love in every way and every day, to make love's peace stronger, and to simplify my life, right? And so all these folks, I woke up on a gurney going into the operating room to get a triple bypass and had my legs cut off. And I said, no. I didn't sign up for this. Take me back to the ICU. And then the rich guy who signed on for that, basically, I said, listen, you want me to finish your job? I need, colonic. I need a massage therapist. I need a energy therapist. I need a, nutritionist. I need, and he got me all those things. And that, brought me back from death. And then it took about 2014, 15, so 6-7 years to get to where I am. Now, that 20 years, between 73, 83, 93, 2003, 2013. So that 40 years of standing on the razor's edge, got me to where, this avatar, this bag of water, got damaged. And until I can start, turning water into wine, all I can do is balance me out, bring my avatar peace. So I still have diabetes. I still have all of those things, but um, I'm, you know, trying to in every day. So, and I had to go into the medical model a bit, and I had to, take diabetes medicine and blood pressure medicine and all of this. While this summer, uh, things have changed in, you know, um, the assistance I get. The state I'm in basically closed up. You know, it's like the only thing you can do is go online or call the 800 number, and no one answers the phone. So I've had to really severely change my diet. I had to like wipe out all. While I was taking those things, I could have a egg McMuffin. I could have and my blood sugar would only go up to 130. But not eating any carbohydrates and cutting my diet severely to only proteins and vegetables, and keeping away from acidic things, um, eggplants and tomatoes and some others in there. Um, I, I can keep my blood sugar between 90 and 110 without having to take any of those medicines. I can keep my blood pressure, 170 over, I mean, really good, whatever, 70 over whatever, and whatever, every time I go, right. So, and all my other, things are really good. And the one thing that's a little high is my cholesterol, but not that bad. And my good cholesterol is very good. And that's because I eat a lot of, cheese and eggs, because those are my proteins. Because I'm not a big fan of red meats. So as I clean up my diet and exercise my body, because I live in a place where I have to go up and down a hill like 20 times. Every time I get to the top of that hill, my heart is, it's like good exercise. My standing rate is, I'm like doing pretty good, and I'm not out of breath, and so, but I'm heading into winter, and it's this will be the first winter that I mean pretty well. I'm leaving it open for the universe to find me someplace that, like the last two winters. So I've been, pretty much in the woods for the last 2 years, give or take. And, I go here and there for see things and people and stuff, but mostly in the woods. But the last two winters, I babysat a friend of mine's farm for the whole winter. And last winter, a friend of mine had a heart attack, and I babysitted them. So I was in a warm place. And you go back and look at the shows. And you know what? It's interesting. I went through the shows watching them, and they're all up there on YouTube. All of them, pretty much. Like 99.99%, maybe one or two I might have taken down just because I didn't know what I was doing. But they're all up there. And what amazes me is how a lot of people who do YouTube, there are the ones who are really professional, right? That's their job. And they're actually doing a good service. I mean, they are, I mean, so many interesting and educational um, YouTubes on how to do this, that, and the other thing. Really pretty good. And then there are a lot of people who are giving the public a different point of view, like me, right? But some of them, because they started earlier and got on the algorithm, have hundreds of thousands of, you know, um, people who belong to their channel and watch their show religiously. And some of them are amazing. There's an old guy. What's his name? Oh, yeah. It's hard to spend the day in the car. Let's see. And all you who get a hold of me at Gmail, thank you very much. I love your connections. Let's see. And you all send me such interesting videos, you know. And where's the guy? Uh, There he is. True peace, spiritual unfoldment, I think.
Together we march because Trump and Tom Tillis failed us on racial justice, on coronavirus, on the economy, refusing to do what's right. We must vote louder for.
And we have this guy. I don't want us to see it.
Better America. Firearm rights. I'm practicing being present every day, and I'm becoming better and better at it. So, and then you say you're quite a worldly woman. How can you manage to live with someone who doesn't enjoy being herself? There's very good advice given to spiritual aspirants, which is not to judge other people. Now, there is a reason why people are as they are. It's not for us to judge them. First of all, we accept, and it's in that acceptance that we find the peace within ourselves. You can't, you'll never find true presence, true peace, if you've got judgment in your heart. You can find a little bit of peace if you turn away from the whole world, climb up into or somewhere, or shut yourself in a little room and sit there in a nice little cocoon of peace. But that's childishness, dear, spiritual infancy. Gradually we have to include more and more of the world. Yes, the world with all its unpleasantness, including sometimes what might be otherwise our nearest and dearest.
Yep, practicing. So that's that's the guy it's the one, I go to see this guy, right?
Look at this stillness that I'm sitting in now.
True peace.
Not included. The walkers go down.
They don't even give you.
Could be all sorts of people. Doesn't disturb the stillness at all, does it? Nothing can shake the peace. Adam. Well, Adam, you've been meditating 4 years, and it's been eye-opening.
Unfoldment, I think is the name of this channel.
You'll struggle with it through most of your life.
That's right.
That's the work. The more you take on.
Yeah, sure. Let's see. 30 minutes and 36 seconds. Let's see. We had the Sublime. Let's hear.
Being pushed into poverty, potentially as Oxfam a day, a widespread crisis in education for hundreds of millions of children who potentially, because they don't have access to home education, could induce a generational crisis in education in many of these countries. How is it that these impacts can be reduced on vulnerable populations all across the world by doing something other than lockdowns in countries that are resource poor and can't necessarily afford alternative strategies?
Absolutely. So the focus for so many of us has been around the fact that the strategies have left behind some of the most poor and vulnerable people in our society. And this is not a surprise. This has happened before the pandemic. We have so much inequity. And the focus of the response has to be on protecting the most vulnerable. So if you think back to our response in the United States, in May, once we realized there was a disproportionate impact on people of color who are frontline workers, who lived in crowded housing, who were not able to stay home while the rest of us were able to, what we should have done is protect these populations.
Okay, so yes, we should have protected these populations, right? But you have to see who's pulling the string. Oops, I gotta get my microphone. So who's pulling the string, right? So our friend here, Anthony, I heard these next couple of months will be very intense according to astrology. What do you think? Well, pretty much it's going to be more of the same, right? Different flavors. I mean, just look at the last last week. Just look at since the presidential debate. Come on. So there's so many potentials. I've been looking through my tea leaves, and basically, what we have is 58% chance of Donnie winning in a way that it's undetestable, right? And JoJo may get a few more popular votes, but not a big deal. Just like, what's her name winning by 2 million, that, in a country of 300 and something million, that's not a lot, right? And you look at everything that Donnie is still trying to do, all the court cases he has, how he's tried to shut down the 10-year counting of the population, which the Constitution states out very, very clearly, how to do it. And he's tried to, because it picks how many people are going to Congress and who's going to what, right? And, up until 1965, poor people of color of every shade, basically couldn't get any representation. And so, LBJ passed to the Voting Rights Act, but it didn't matter because the money came flowing in that picked, soap suds A against soap suds B. And so you really never have a choice. What's the difference between Joe and Donnie? Not really very much. And anybody who really has a different voice gets no, like, look at Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah, she has issues, but she definitely had a very interesting voice. And every time she was on that podium, she was commanding, So they just shushed her out. I mean, the Democratic Party, I'd love to see her up against Donald Trump. Whoa, talk about entertaining. That would have been mind-boggling, right? So, hello from Canada, Blacktop. Good to see you. So you guys all signed up? You're all, subscribed, hit the bell, all the above. John Butler, that is our the man with the white beard. Not me, but the other guy. And he describes himself as a youngster in the spiritual path. And so if he's a youngster, I am an infant. So I really adore him, and there are lots of other people up there who are of that. Like I said, YouTube really is interesting. So um, I would say one of the things Donnie wins, and then the thing about that I'm studying about COVID is that yeah, young people get it, and it's they just have the sniffles. But what it looks like it's going to do is that it's in them. It's like in us, period, and it's in them. And the youngsters are going to have it worse because as they get older, their lungs are going to be eaten alive. Their heart is going to be destroyed. Their mind is going to be ravaged, and basically, when I again my tea leaves say that Donnie wins. He gets in power and then keels over, he takes the oath, he falls over, right? He has his lungs give out, right? So he's out there every day, at a rally screaming and yelling, and that's not great for his lungs. Um, and he will get through this up until that moment, and then Mikey will be president. And I don't know if any of you have noticed how Mikey looks just like Donald Sutherland in the Hunger Games, right? And, North Korea had a big, everyone's starving there. God knows what the pandemic's doing there. And they had a big military parade. And they put on view their new missiles. And they have MIRVs, multiple, individually targeted reentry vehicles, right? And so that means, yeah, maybe they only have 20 missiles, but, they may have 5 warheads on each. And so that's, enough to bring a very bad day to the US of A. And I would say we have the technology in space to knock down anything and to not only knock down things, but obliterate things, Look at all the weather changes, and when people go about global warming, you don't even know half of, just you should start doing a little homework on Nikola Tesla and what he did in the 1890s with stellar technology. And then from that point, where it went into all, basically the Manhattan Project just set up a institution of, very close to the best research facilities that was run by DARPA. All the national laboratories, especially ones you don't hear about, like Brookhaven National Laboratories. Right, Plum Island is right next to them. Right, the nastiest of nasty biological weapons things. Right, and on the other side of Brookhaven is the Montauk Project, Operation Rainbow. Go read the, Preston Nichols book, And I was part of that gang. I was part of the U.S. Psychotronic Society. I knew those guys. I took them out to Brookhaven because I was involved in the Stop Shorm campaign. And the first thing I looked at was, why do we need this reactor here? And what's the utilization of power? And I went and got, public records from the New York Power Authority. And it showed Long Island's consumption of electricity. I mean, actually New York State's. But every so often, Montauk would consume more electricity than all of the state of New York at that moment. Just like unbelievable amounts, more than anything, and more than Brookhaven. Brookhaven has a big cyclotron, something very akin to what's going on at CERN. There's a guy named Clyde, what's his name, but of Ground Zero radio show. And he's into, he's a guy into the esoteric occult, and he's all about CERN in 2015 opening up a portal to another dimension. And, J.J. Abrams at that, around that time or a little before it had a TV show called Fringe, right? You should go watch that show because everything that's in that show, Fringe, is kind of what's happening right frigging now. Let's see. What are people saying here? People have added things. Let's see. Fish. I would enjoy seeing a world where we can make systematic change. Probably would start with people learning current events from their source, not the media. That's true. I love that. I'm very scared of Mike Pence as a member of the Rainbow family. He seems very fascistic. Yes, baby. LBJ talked about weather control. Yeah, that was a long time ago, too, in the 60s. Change on Earth is only coming to happen when we wake up. Thank you very much. And who said that? Let's see. I might even need another pair of glasses. Michelle, I think. Michelle? Yep, Michelle. Yep. Wake up from within. Everything else is a distraction. Yep. As and my teachers told me, everything is as it should be, meaning we have to go through all of this stuff. This is part of the sandbox, And, Shakespeare really pegged it after Hamlet has killed everyone and he's won. He's sitting in the throne and his buddy goes, "Oh, look, we won. We're at top of the heap, blah, 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 blah." And he goes, "So why you look so sad? We should be out there celebrating." And he said, "No." "Well, what's wrong?" He goes, "Well, it's tomorrow." "Well, what about tomorrow?" "Well, because after tomorrow is another tomorrow, and a tomorrow, and a tomorrow, and a tomorrow." And that's the world we're in. Nothing's going to really change, except Michelle, and she said it has to change from within us, right? And that first has to come with that peace, that unconditional love, first for ourselves, forgiveness for ourselves, to really see who we really are. And, go to, xratted.blogspot.com and go to my work I'm working on called Legend and go to, it kind of gets up there as I'm writing it, it has not all of what I've written so far, but 90%, right? There's stuff I written last night that I didn't get to put up there. But there is I keep using as a punctuation, as a pause to breathe, a statement that says, um, I will not see myself as restricted. I'm as beautiful and perfect as God has created me. We just have to keep that in our mind. Good thoughts bring good words, good actions, good outcomes, good deeds. So that's where we have to work on changing things, right? So, and it's bad when I'm going to have to wear like 4 pairs of glasses. Oh, look, 4 people are talking, and there's 2 thumbs up. Let's see. Michelle says, "Can you repeat your blog address?" Yep. Okay, I'll say it a little slower. xratted.blogspot.com. And that's all. XRATTED is all in lowercase. xratted.blogspot.com. And it's on the header is Griot Publishing. I put it up there to be a publishing company and not just my stuff, but others. But go to that and read that, right? So can you go to it now to see if you got on there? Nights of Sleep. Let's see. You're welcome, Michelle. So, and because I put up, it was like a play on word, XRATTED. So it's people, oh, that's X-rated. No, it's X-rated. It's like the X-Files that are, all the rat news, the rat line, the rat line, all of that stuff is the dark stuff behind the screen, the Nazi stuff, And, it's amazing how comic books really, were right on. I mean, Captain America, Hail Hydra, that's what's going on. That's the hidden hand, you know. So, let's see. I have errands to do. And what time is it? It's not quite 2 o'clock yet. Oh, there's these glasses, which are better than those glasses. And I hope by wearing this little microphone, it has enabled me, because I listened to the last two shows I did from the car, and boy, I made a lot of racket, moving around. So I hope this microphone is better, right? I went and invested in finding a microphone. So let's see. There's 4 of you there, and there's 44 minutes. So at 50-50, I will sign off to go do my errands. So John Butler, right? Remember John Butler, right? Go look at him, Go look at dark journalism, right? That guy's got a lot of information. He does a really good job. There is a show that produced a YouTube called The Minds of Men. If you go on YouTube and just plug that in, you'll get their channel. And there is another channel called Truly Graceful. And those two people did amazing shows, and that they produced them. They did research. They wrote scripts. They got clips, and they put them in a very amazing, well-produced, well-executed thesis, giving you, and not even trying to say, hey, this is what it is, I believe in. No, just giving you straight-up information that gives you kind of a, look what that is. And if you have an open mind, you'll go, So go take a look at some of that stuff. And that's what I try. I try to emulate these guys. They're my example that I try and follow. And I just do that through my own little, Sensei Al Bob sensibility, of being the griot, being the shaman. And what is the shaman? The shamanic, psychosocial, cultural, forensic anthropologist. If you go to Legend, I kind of lay it out, right? And then after I lay it out, I try to, and the first 2-3 paragraphs, I say, okay, listen, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. This is the platform I'm going to use. I hope it's comfortable for you. And here I'm explaining it so you won't be freaked out by it, and then I start the story, Legend, right? And it keeps snapping through different places, different times, different characters, but they're pretty much all the same character. And I really work hard at having the main protagonist be the ingenue also. The hero is also the heroine, and it's still my voice, but I keep going from a male to a female point of view, trying my best to exemplify a form of empathy, because, that is what, my writing is trying to do, to entertain. And remember, this show, Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob, is only entertainment. Don't believe a word I say. I represent no political anything. I don't believe in anything. I only have faith in love's co-creation. So, with that, did we hit 50 minutes? No, almost. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. It was in the beginning, is now, ever shall be. So every day and every way we can take love. And Holy Spirit, hear our prayer. Our hands on our shoulder, protect us from evil. We will do no harm. Pointers on end. I'm going to say, I love you all. Catch can drive on and find, I could say, your connection is being